Well, it's Mother's Day, and moms are awesome. I don't know about you guys, but my mom was pretty awesome. Being a mom, I've heard, can be pretty awesome and also a sacrifice at times. You know, moms do everything they can to make life for their kids as good as it can be. A good mom gives up her own comfort, gives up her own time to make life good for her kids. You know, like I think about when I was a kid, my mom, we were not rich by any stretch, but we had, like, my mom made my Halloween costumes. My mom always made my birthday cakes, and she'd make them my favorite. My mom, still to this day, when I go home, makes my favorite biscuits and gravy for breakfast. You know, we would color eggs, we did just put up the tree. She always made sure that there were, like, presents. And that I felt treasured, that I felt loved. She made a big deal about birthdays, and she was the best mom she could be to me. And I love that about my mom. And I would hope that many of you could say the same about your moms, that they did everything they could within their power and in their ability to make you feel treasured, to make you feel loved. And even if they don't have a lot of money, like when I grew up, we didn't have a lot, but we made it work, and I still felt treasured. And I kind of feel like moms of today's day and age, I look at like my sister-in-law and other moms in my age group, and I feel like they are trying to do the same thing. They are trying to make life the best it can be for their kids. And we live in such a consumer world, they think that means buying all this stuff for their kids. I've got a neighbor down the street. Her son just turned 16 this year. She got a video game truck. There's a truck that'll come and kids can get on and play video games. I didn't even know that was a thing. She got a bounce house. She invited half the neighborhood to her 16-year-old. Her son doesn't have a ton of friends. Like, not to be rude about him, but like, he's not like Mr. Popularity. And she invited the whole neighborhood. I'm his teacher. I taught him like once. So she's like, come on down, come to his birthday party. You know, I feel like moms, I look at my sister-in-law, she goes all out for my niece's birthdays. Every morning on their birthday, they wake up with balloons all over, like gifts and cake and a theme, and like it's huge. It's this huge thing, and they spend all this money. She spends all this energy trying to make these birthdays the most amazing thing for my nieces, and they love their birthdays. Moms do that. They try to make their kids feel treasured. But I kind of feel like these kids these days, you know you're getting old when you're like, kids these days. These kids these days, these moms these days, I feel like they think that in order for their kids to feel treasured, they've got to give them lots of gifts and do all this big stuff. But you know, at Christmas time, I asked those who were here that day, what's the best gift you ever got? And most people were like, I don't know. I think Steph Wallace said an Easy Bake Oven, which probably was like $20 back in the day. That's not like a really expensive gift. You know, it doesn't take tons of money, and a lot of those gifts that the parents buy, let's be real, they're going to break. They're going to get lost. They're going to outgrow them. You know, like my nieces have so many gifts. They're very much loved by all their family, that they, like their rooms, they can't ever keep their room clean because they have so much stuff. And how can they really love all the stuff because they have so much of it? We live in such a consumer-driven society that moms have been tricked, I feel like, into thinking they've got to give their kids all this stuff so their kids can feel loved and wanted, when really, kids want time with their mom. Kids just want to feel loved by their mom. And kids do like stuff, don't get me wrong. They do love their stuff. But it doesn't take all that stuff, right? Like, I just feel like we've gotten it wrong. We've let society tell us that gifts are the way to our heart. You know, when I was a kid, if I was having a bad day, my mom would give me a little trinket. Or a little like we'd stop at McDonald's and I'd get French fries, which is probably why I love French fries so much now. If I was having a bad day, then we would run through the drive-thru and get some French fries. And so when I was a kid, if I was having a rough day, a lot of times I got a little gift. And that worked great when I was 5. But as I've gotten older, I think I carry that with me. I carry that idea that I need stuff to make me feel better. Last week I challenged you guys to think about what areas you're overspending in your life. What are you going over budget? So I would like to grow spiritually, so I took my own advice and I sat down with God and I said, where am I overspending? And what areas of my life do I think I need treasure in order to feel better? And I realized for me, I'm overspending in my calories, which is evident by the fit of my clothing. My clothes don't fit as good as they did. And my arms are getting a little flabby. And so I started thinking, why? And I really realized that when I'm having a bad day, or when I'm tired, or when I've done something hard, I reward myself with food. I treasure my little treasure of food. I have a brownie, or I go get French fries, or it's been a rough week, I'm gonna have pizza. I reward myself with food. And I think that comes from when I was a kid, I'd have a bad day or it's a special occasion, I was rewarded with good food. And I'm realizing that I'm storing up my treasure, which is food and calories, in my body, which is not good for my waistline. We tend to, when we need something, turn to our treasures. And so Jesus had something to say about this. Jesus knew that this is our tendency. This isn't just a new thing. Yes, our society is very materialistic, but they had the same problem back then. So one day Jesus, who we think is the Son of God, was hanging out with his dudes. He had these disciples, and they're his guys, and he's training them. And he's teaching them. And he's teaching about praying and fasting and giving money and all this stuff. And so he's teaching them about money. He had this to say. He says, and don't keep hoarding for yourself earthly treasures that can be stolen by thieves. Material wealth will rust, decay, and lose its value. Instead, stockpile heavenly treasure for yourself that cannot be stolen, will never rust, nor decay, nor lose its value. For your heart will always pursue what you esteem as your treasure. And this is an easy thing for us to understand is when it comes to money. When we chase after money and things, and that's our treasure, we're going to spend a lot of time chasing after this treasure. And I realized for me, after last week's message, that I treasure food. So it's not just stuff. I'm not a huge stuff person, but some people are. For some people, when they're having a bad day, they hop on Amazon and do a little retail therapy. For some people, when they're feeling like they don't matter, they go out and buy an expensive car or house so they can look cool and matter to people. For some of us, our treasure is feeling important by filling our schedule. Where are you spending your time, your energy, your money? Your budget says a lot. Your bank account says a lot about where your treasure lies. Where are you spending your money? Your calendar says a lot about your treasure. Where are you spending all your time? For me, my plate says a lot about what I treasure. I treasure French fries way more than I should. So where are you finding comfort? Where are you chasing after your worth? When you're having a bad day, what are you turning to? When you want to feel special, what are you turning to? When you are feeling stressed out, what are you turning to? Because Jesus says, stop turning to stuff. It's going to rust, it's going to get stolen. My nieces have all this stuff. It's going to get broken, they're going to outgrow it. Those of us who love clothing, when I do shop on Amazon, it's usually for clothes. I'm going to outgrow it. It's going to get too small, it's going to go out of style. If I'm spending all of my time buying clothes and that makes me feel better, Eventually, like, I can't wear all those clothes, or I'm going to outgrow them, or they're going to fade or rip or whatever. Jesus is saying, where is your treasure? Ask yourself, where is your treasure? Where are you spending your energy? When you lay awake at night, when you're worrying about something, that's an indication of where your treasure is. And so he goes on to say, the eyes of your spirit allow revelation light to enter into your being. So if your heart is unclouded, then the light can come in. But if you're focused on money, light can't penetrate, and darkness takes its place. And how profound will the darkness be within you if the light of truth cannot enter? And I would add to that, but if your eyes are focused on food, if your eyes are focused on how good your body looks, if your eyes are focused on popularity, if your eyes are focused on having like I've got a cousin, he's constantly bragging about how he's grinding, he's working hard. His eyes are focused on looking like he's a hard worker. So if your eyes are focused on anything other than God, the light can't penetrate. So God's over here, all that stuff's over here. So if you're chasing after that stuff, you've got your back to God, and he's your light. If you're chasing after food when you don't feel good, then you're not chasing after God, and he's like, I can help you. If you're chasing after a full schedule, then you're not spending time with God. If you're working so hard so you can afford your Amazon habit, then you're running away from God. Fun little side joke. My brother once said, like I said, my nieces have a lot of stuff. He said, I saw the craziest thing the other day. The FedEx truck drove past my house as opposed to stopping at my house. Because my sister-in-law, she just kind of likes to shop a little. Like, she's a great mom. Her kids feel really special, but she likes to shop a lot. And it's all little stuff. But, Jesus says, how can you worship two gods at the same time? You will end up hating one and loving the other, or being devoted to one and despising the other. You cannot worship the true God if you are enslaved to the god of money. If you are constantly trying to chase after money, popularity, security, feeling good, getting what you want, getting those little treats, you're running away from God. When I think about my mom, when I was a kid, she gave me security. She gave me love. She treasured me. When I was having a bad day, I crawled up in her lap and she'd hug me. When I was feeling sad, she was the one wiping my tears away. When I was having a birthday, she wanted me to feel special. And even to this day, when I come home, she makes biscuits and gravy every single time because she knows it's my favorite. And she wants me to feel treasured. But I can't get that biscuits and gravy unless I go to her house. When I need advice, I call my mom. She's a great advice giver. I learned a long time ago that she's pretty much always right, and I should just listen to her. If I do what she says, if I do the opposite of what she says, it never worked out well for me. But in order to get that good advice, I have to call her. If I'm having a rough day, she's the one that lets me vent about it. But in order to vent, I have to call her. And God is saying, I can be like that. I really believe that God gave moms these abilities so we can understand him better. God is showing us that I have the qualities your mom has. I will make you feel treasured. I will make you feel loved. I will give you security. I will give you hope. I will give you what you need, but you've got to come to me. If you're out there chasing money and popularity, if you're out there doing your own thing and you've got your back turned to me, I can't help you. I mean, he could, but he won't. He's like, I'm here. Come home to me. Be my beloved. So when we treasure other things, we run away from God. And when we treasure God, then he treasures us back. I love movies that have treasure hunters, like any movie where they're chasing treasure, like National Treasure, like that kind of movie. The people who are treasure hunters, they are fixated on that treasure. Like they That is the thing that, and everyone else is like, you're crazy, because they do nothing but chase that treasure. And God's saying, make me your treasure. If you make me your treasure, I will give you the security you need. I will give you the love you need. I will give you the support you need. I will give you the hope you need. If you make me your treasure, then I will treasure you. And I will make you feel treasured because you're my beloved child. So, ask the Lord this week, what is my treasure? Take a look at your bank account. Take a look at your calendar. Take a look at your plate. Take a look at your life and ask the Lord, where is my treasure? And if it's not God, then start praying about, Lord, how can I make this? How can I turn it around? I want to turn around and make you my treasure, Lord. Because when we treasure the Lord, then we are his treasured children. And all of God's people said,